Hey Anna, you know what? Shane seriously thought about ending their relationship so many times. Ilya was about to leave Shane as well. Ilya literally had this plan in his head. After today's game, I'm ending it right before Shane got into hospital. And Shane thought their relationship is a horrible thing. And on top of that, Ilya did not ask for Shane to be invited to their photo shoot. So, today I reveal all the truth behind the Heated Rivalry story. I read the book, yeah, and trust me, I've got a lot of secrets to reveal. I'm talking about the moments that never made it into the show and what actually happens after season 1. So, revelation number 1, and this one is crucial. They both thought about ending their meetups so many times, all the way until the cottage. Like, yes, both of them were planning to end it. Thankfully, not at the same time. The show doesn't really show it, I think. Maybe they filmed it, maybe they didn't, but we never see it on the screen. In the book, we get both POVs from Ilya and from Shane, and we see inside Ilya's head and Shane's head, right? So honestly, it's heartbreaking. Shane is suffering. Yeah, like really suffering. The book actually starts with a prologue and it jumps 7 years into their relationship. What happens? Shane is waiting for Ilya in this condo, a condo he specifically bought for their hookups. And no, he did not bring Ilya to his real apartment. Like, absolutely not. Because Shane didn't want Ilya in his real life. You're like, what? We saw the whole story. I know. Yeah, but 7 years in their relationship, Shane didn't want Ilya in his real life. He genuinely thought their meetings were a bad idea, like something that should probably be ended. Can you believe it? And he got a place for their hookups to put some distance. So before that, what we see in the prologue, there was a game, Montreal versus Boston, and Montreal is losing, and Rozanov keeps getting under Hollander's skin on the ice. In the book, we're also introduced to just how intense the fans are. Like, next level. It straight up says these people are kind of crazy. And listen, I'm not even a sports fan, so I probably underestimate how deep this goes, how emotional and serious these games are for people. But reading this, all I could think was, this is going to be a problem later. Because how do you come out when you have to face a crowd like that? Like a ferocious, obsessed crowd that feels like they own you. Yeah, so we are also told that reporters wanted to talk to Shane after every single game, especially the ones when he faced Rozanov. And honestly, hockey fans tell me, is it always like this? Like, is there always press waiting after every game? Because this really shows how much pressure Shane is under between feral fans and media constantly watching him, always checking, always asking. And now I feel uneasy just reading this. So imagine being Shane. Yeah, well. So back to the story. After losing the game, Shane goes to their secret place, the small condo he uses when he wants total privacy. And he actually owns the entire building, but only uses the condo on the 3rd floor. And unlike in the show, he doesn't drink just ginger ale. Sometimes he has beer. And unfortunately, this is one of those days. He's drinking to numb the disappointment he feels in himself. Oh my god. Yeah, this is what I didn't know from the show. And honestly, it's heartbreaking. They've been in their relationship for 7 years, well, around 7 years by this point. And you can see that Shane is actually tired. While waiting in that condo for like 40 minutes, he almost convinces himself to leave and finally put an end to this foolishness, as he put it to himself. But of course he doesn't. He keeps waiting. So we see that this burdens Shane, but he just can't bring himself to end it. Not yet. So then Rozanov comes in, like this has happened 100 times before, They kiss, and Shane thinks, God, I need this horrible, fucked up thing. Like, he literally puts it this way. And that's how he sees their relationship after 7 years. Not some beautiful, supporting love story, but a horrible, fucked up thing. And it's really sad. Under all the pressure from public, this powerful, beautiful thing feels dirty, like it has to be hidden. So Rozanov is being sarcastic, as he might be, but in the book, Shane is not in it. He can stand up to Rozanov's sarcasm, make fun of his tattoo, push back, so he's more beefy in how he communicates. That time, though, he's still struggling with accepting his feelings for Ilya. So during their passionate scene that night, he's watching Ilya, and part of him, that's important, wants to believe it was anyone other than Ilya Rozanov making him feel so good. But most of him wants to see exactly who it was. You can see like this split in him, almost like Coriolanus, like I talked about in my Songs of Birds video. His emotional, sensitive side wants to continue, while his rational side knows he needs to put an end to it. So after 7 years, Shane doesn't put it for himself as love. He knows he feels something, but he kind of runs away from admitting it to himself. He chooses to think of it as lust, something comfortable, familiar. Rationally, it should have ended a long time ago, but it feels so good that he knows he wouldn't end it as long as Rozanov is willing. That actually answers a question from my previous video where I was like asking why Shane tolerates Ilya's hot and cold behavior. That is fine. So, on top of that, after sex, Shane feels guilt and shame. So, definitely he hasn't accepted it about himself yet. He feels guilty that he's like that and enjoys it, which is so wrong. It's wonderful when people can feel this much for someone else. There shouldn't be guilt or shame in that. So surprisingly, in the book, Rozanov shows so much more that he cares. Yeah, I was so happy. Even after 7 years, he's teasing and mocking Shane on the ice in interviews, but when they're alone, his tone shifts. His voice gets patient, soft. He's reading Shane, adapting to him. He can be rough sometimes, but today Shane was down. His team lost, and Ilya noticed. He was careful, slow, considerate. Why would you do that if you didn't care? In my previous video, I thought it was just politeness. Well, before I watched all the suits, right? So I thought it was just politeness. Like, I feel good, and make the other person feel good too. That's like social skills, just being polite. But this isn't politeness. This is reading someone's mood and responding to their needs in that moment. Compassion. Yeah. Another thing in the book, Shane, like Rozanov, hides his real feelings behind jokes. There is a moment right after their intimacy, Rozanov starts looking at Shane seriously. And Shane's scared that something real, something serious could happen. He dodges it as a joke. Oh, you still have that stupid tattoo. Oh my god. Ilya was sending serious looks. In the book, after 7 years, even though they never actually talk about it, we can see that Ilya is fixated on Shane totally. Like, looking at him with love-struck eyes. But Shane, he's scared that if Ilya actually said something, Shane would have to do something. Either end it or accept it. Shane is scared of what could come next, so he doesn't want to talk about it. But Rozanov, he's looking at him seriously again, and he says it straight up. You're beautiful. Oh, Shane, he doesn't know how to react. So, of course, he dodges it with a joke. Hottest man in NHL, according to Cosmopolitan. But what's worse, and I didn't expect this at all, Shane thinks it would be so much better if it was any other man but Rozanov. Like, no, he knows no one else attracts him more, but part of him really wishes it was anyone other than Ilya. What? Like, I did not catch that in the show. And yes, in the book we also see that Shane had other women and men. I'll tell about that later. So overall, Shane tries to convince himself that he's been keeping this thing with Ilya going for so long because it's convenient. And yeah, also because he likes sex with him. But there's more. He feels more than he wants to admit, and he pushes those thoughts away before they hit his consciousness. He just doesn't want to think about it. So, to summarize so far, Shane is running from his feelings. He doesn't want to accept them, he doesn't want to name them. Rationally, he knows he should end it, but he doesn't have the strength to quit. Later, we actually see that Shane was the first one to get obsessed with Ilya. Thing number 2 that surprised me, at one point, Rozanov jokes that Shane needs to sleep with other people, and we learn that Rose was not Hollander's only woman. When he travels, there are women everywhere. It's just with men, it's different for him. So for Shane, women were like safe and everywhere. So what I was thinking, in the show, that moment when Ilya asks, do you like them girls? And Shane may look like he didn't have any up to that moment. No, he had that experience before. In the book, we see that Shane could be harsh too. Not to show how much he needs Ilya already, Shane is pushing him away with words. For example, when Rozanov is leaving after their intimacy, and it's still the prologue. So Ilya is leaving and he's saying sorry, that he needs to go right away, and we can see he is sorry. Shane, not to show his feelings that he's also sorry, fires back like, why? I don't care. We're done here anyway, aren't we? And actually that hurt Rozanov a bit, but he was like, yeah. It's kind of like Gone with the Wind. They're meant to be together, but they can't talk normally yet. They're always fighting. Fighting actually comforts Shane. Like, nothing changed. He's not in love. He's not in trouble. After the prologue, once we already know their dynamics, comes chapter 1, how they met. And it's basically the beginning of the show, as you know, because that's how show starts. So it's 2008, Regina, Christmas time, but also the World Junior Hockey Championships, like in the show. Ilya and Shane are 16 years old at that point, around that. I didn't really see it in the show. Well, if you're in hockey, you probably know the age of the athletes, but I didn't know. So they were like 16-ish. And the interesting part, this championship meant everything for Ilya. Also, it was his chance to finally get a first-hand look at Shane Hollander. So the book says that there had been a lot of buzz about the 16 years old Canadian racing star. And Ilya, he was sick of hearing the name, which has caused such a stir in the hockey world. So both Ilya and Shane were eligible for the NHL entry draft that come in June, and everyone already expected them to be the number 1 and 2 overall picks. By that time, Ilya had never met Shane, never played against him, but he was determined to destroy him. He wanted to lead his country to gold and to be chosen first in the draft. Shane was already his rival, the one he wanted to crush. So like extra information for the show. So that day, he wanted to see Shane on the ice, but he didn't get a chance. Canadian players didn't wear name hoodies, unlike in the show where Rozanov watches Shane directly. So during his own performance, Ilya notices some people in the stands, and one of them is a boy. And Ilya thinks, Hollander? He has a gut feeling it's him, though he couldn't be sure. And, it's not romantic, just a feeling in his stomach, and it matches the description of Shane he read online. So Unlike in the show, where it feels like there was already a spark of love interest, in the book, it's more two rivals sizing each other up, watching to see what to expect. There is interest, but not love. Not yet. So, like in the show, their first conversation was longer, and we see it from Ilya's perspective. At this point, he thought of Shane as maybe a good player. He wasn't sure yet, but one thing was certain. He was the one Ilya wanted to crush. So, Ilya was smoking, as you remember, and Shane came up to him, and his first words were, "You're not allowed to smoke here." Well, of course, he didn't say this. Ilya realized the boy he saw in the stands, it's Shane. And now Shane is right in front of him. While Shane talked, Ilya's gaze drifted. It stopped at Shane's freckles across his nose and cheekbones. And he replied shortly, but, Shane tried to keep the conversation going. So Shane said, like in the show, "I wanted to meet you. You're an awesome player to watch." As in the show, Rozanov is cocky. Even at 16, he's like, "I know." Okay. And in his head, he thought, like, if Hollander was expecting me to return the compliment, he'd be waiting a long damn time. Cocky. And when Ilya didn't say anything else, she changed the subject, and they were talking about parents a little bit, and that it's kind of cold. And then they leaned against the wall side by side. Ilya rolled his head against the brick to look down at Shane, who stood about 4 inches shorter than him. And he thought it was very interesting to look at Shane. His cheeks were rosy from the cold, and his breath came out in white clouds from between his pink lips. I'm like, why would anyone look so closely? They're not interested. Anyway, we can definitely say they were interested in each other, and they kept talking. Pretty funny, Ilya decided to make an effort. He was like, since these guys seem so determined to talk to me, I'll keep the conversation going. So he asked about the Ottawa, is it more exciting? And they talked a little bit more about parents. And when Shane was leaving, he said, like in the show, like, good luck in the tournament. Ilya accepted the handshake and grinned, like, you won't be so friendly when we beat you. And that's not happening from Shane. Ilya knew Shane truly believed it. So even though the show made their conversation shorter, I actually liked how they edited it in the show. Like short clips with intense music that really hits. But in the book, it gives us so much more of their thoughts and feelings. That night, Ilya's team won, as you remember, and Shane, though hating to lose, admitted to himself that Rozanov was really good, infuriatingly good. Media started to build up their rivalry since then. After that night, Shane was moved by Ilya, but he told himself it was just because after a life playing above everyone else, he had finally met his match. Ooh. And that video is pretty long, and I've got so much more to say, so probably I'll stop here now and continue the next time. So there is way more to tell, something that you didn't know about if you haven't read the book, and like the gym scene and many more. So if you'd like to know more, see you next time.